Yesterday's Astros versus Dodgers game pretty much went exactly as I predicted before the game even started. There was going to be a lot of trolling. However, I will say towards the end of the game, people were chucking $20 beers from the upper deck to the lower deck and hitting families with children. So that's when it starts to get a little bit weird. Let's not do that. Anyways, what's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. If this is your first time on the channel, we do this every single day. So don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as well as use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek if you're going to any baseball games anytime soon. So we're going to break that game down in just a second between the Astros and the Dodgers, but we have a lot to get into. So without further ado, let's break down the Angels game, because this one got me very excited because Jo Adell, one of the top prospects in all of baseball for the last 3 or 4 years, he came in huge yesterday in his 2021 debut. He drives in 2 RBIs on a double. I love that for him. The Angels, they're going to need him to produce if they want any chance of maybe squeaking in to a wild card spot. You have Ohtani doubling, and then he scores on a Phil Gosselin hit, and then Captain Jack Mayfield, we have talked about him 20 different times over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Gosselin scores Ohtani again later on in the game, and Jo Adell caps a 3 RBI day later on in the game, and the Angels end up with 11 runs on the day. The first day that Jo Adell is in the lineup, they put up 11 runs. That is a fantastic sign. If he can play like this, and if Trout and Rendon can come back healthy, they can hit their way into a bunch of W's and maybe into the playoffs. It's going to be a long shot. Now, speaking of scoring a lot of runs, the Yankees exploded yesterday against Baltimore, which is usually what happens. So the loss that they took the day before was very weird. But Gleyber Torres, he drives in Gary, and then DJ LeMahieu almost has the exact same hit as Gleyber. He's able to get past the defenders and squeak one into the right field gap, and Rizzo starts a 5-run third inning as Giancarlo Stanton hits a 3-run shot. Luis Gil, he was making his MLB debut. He goes 6 shutout innings, only allowing 1 walk on 6 strikeouts in his debut, which makes me think, why did you trade for Andrew Heaney when you have studs in the minor league? Why wouldn't you just call him up? And it's evident by Steven Ridings. He strikes out 3 in his debut. And then you have Tyler Wade driving in 2 RBIs, Aaron Judge hitting his 22nd home run of the year, and Brody Corner, he goes 2 innings, allows 1 earned run in his debut. So the Yankees, every single inning that they pitched yesterday was from someone making their debut. Has that ever happened before? So we all know that the Rays and the Red Sox have been battling for first place, and then you have the Yankees and the Jays battling for that wild card spot. So let's talk about Boston, because they're on a 4-game losing streak, and it got worse yesterday as they lose their 5th game in a row. Miguel Cabrera is only 2 home runs away from that elusive 500 home run club. I would love it if MLB The Show celebrated with a 500 home run milestone card. If you play MLB The Show, you know what I'm talking about. Either way, Harold Castro ties it up in the 4th inning, and then the bad man, Akil Baddoo, drives in a run to give the Tigers a 3-2 lead. He now has 43 RBIs and a 129 OPS plus, an absolutely historic season in my opinion, from a Rule 5 draft pick recovering from Tommy John. I mean, that is not supposed to happen, and he essentially skipped the minors. You can root for Akil Baddoo, even if you're a Royals fan or a White Sox fan. You get a pass for the bad man. You have Robbie Grossman proving to the Detroit Tigers that he was a fantastic offseason signing, and Gregory Soto, he strikes out 2, as like I mentioned, the Boston Red Sox lose their 5th game in a row, which I guess isn't the worst timing, because the Mariners have been kicking the Rays' butts. They're 6-0 now after beating them yesterday against the Rays this year. Even though Randy Arozarena, he goes yard and he continues to bolster his Rookie of the Year campaign, the Mariners answer back with the sacrifice fly, and Abraham Toro, he has been so good for the Mariners thus far. And then Jared Kelenic, we've talked about him way more over the last week or two, goes 420 plus feet. So he is trying to get hot and stay hot, just like Abraham Toro. Yusei Kikuchi only allows 1 earned run in 6 innings with 5 strikeouts, and the bullpen, they were dominant. Only 1 hit over the last 3 innings, and Diego Castillo, after blowing saves a couple days ago, he has his 15th of the year, and the Mariners are 6-0 against the Rays this year, and they're 58-50 on the year, so they're trying to stay ahead of the Yankees for the 2nd spot in that wild card. Another team that is trying their best to make the wild card, the Blue Jays, they spanked Cleveland yesterday. George Springer, over his last 88 games, has a 150 OPS plus and 26 home runs. Dude has been a cheat code. You have Teoscar Hernandez hitting a 2-run Oppo Taco. Zach Plesac has not been the same guy that he was in 2020, which pains me because I thought that he was going to be a number 2 starter right behind Bieber. So he ends up allowing 6 earned runs on 10 base hits. Hyunjin Ryu, the exact opposite. 7 innings, 2 earned runs on 0 walks and 8 hits. And the Jays have to keep on stacking W's if they want to make the playoffs. Yo, I never show you guys Grady, but he's on the desk He wants to say hello. Hello, everyone. If you guys have a cat, man, they shed so much. All right, let's talk about the Astros versus the Dodgers, shall we? Let's get all of the trolling out the way first. So let's go ahead and hear just how loud the boos were yet again in the stadium.
Second baseman number 27, Jose Altuve.
You have the boo birds out. Then later on in the game, at one moment you had 2 inflatable trash cans on the field, so the Dodgers were pulling out all the stops. But let's talk about the game itself. Michael Brantley is lethal. He is leading all of baseball in batting average. He drives in a run on an RBI single. And then Mookie Betts, he's a Gold Glover no matter where you put him. Check out this play over at second base. They're doing this because Cody Bellinger, he hasn't been very good, but his defense is so good that they're trying to keep him in the outfield along with AJ Pollock and Chris Taylor and Trey Turner, and they have so many pieces. Walker Buehler was pretty good yesterday. Actually, he was really good. 6 innings, only 1 earned run, but Lance McCullers was even better. He almost goes 7 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts, and Yordan Alvarez hits a home run against his former team. I can't remember when they traded him, but they traded him on August 1st, maybe 2016 or 2017, so it was almost the anniversary of his trade. He goes yard, and Ryan Stanek gets the save. Houston, they are 5.5 games ahead of the A's for first place, and the Dodgers, because the Giants lost, we'll talk about that after this. They're 3.5 games back to San Francisco, and I just want to mention one more time, if you're going to any Astros games, let's not throw $20 beers at families with children. That's just trashy. No pun intended. All right, let's talk about San Francisco because they got handed the L yesterday. Arizona, they get the help of Nick Ahmed and Asdrubal Cabrera. The score is 3-0 in the second inning, and Johnny Cueto, he's able to shut them down the rest of the game as the Diamondbacks only scored 3. Cole Calhoun lays out in the 5th inning for Madison Bumgarner, and Mad Bum was fantastic against his former squad. 7 innings, only 1 earned run, and a guy named Tyler Gilbert was making his debut. 2 strikeouts in his debut, an excellent inning from him, and then 36-year-old Tyler Clippard, he comes in for Arizona and saves it. So even with that loss, the Giants are still 67-40. They have been playing out of their mind. Moving on over to the final NL West powerhouse, San Diego. They smacked the A's yesterday. Tommy Pham, he goes yard off Sean Manaea, and Jake Marisnick, he's going to get a lot more playing time after the Padres DFA'd Jorge Mateo. That makes me sad. I thought he was going to break out, but he's off the team. He kickstarts a 3-run second to make it 4-0, and Blake Snell was saved by a double play from Will Myers as Austin Nola, the brother of Aaron Nola, hits a 2 RBI double, and Blake Snell, he is having such a roller coaster season. 1 earned run on 6 strikeouts in 5 innings, so finally a quality start. Grisham drives in 2 more to make it 8-1, and the Padres pen only allows 1 hit over the last 4 innings. San Diego is on a 2-game winning streak. The Phillies versus the Nationals. Gene Segura rockets a home run on the first pitch of the game, and up until the 7th inning, both Zach Wheeler and Patrick Corbin were dealing, but like I mentioned, the 7th was bad to both of them. JT and Ronald Torreyes make it 4-0 off Corbin, and the Nationals get 2 in the 7th off of Zach Wheeler. Bryce Harper hits a home run, a solo shot in his last 14 games, guys. Bryce Harper has a 400 batting average, and again, over his last 14 games, has a 580 on base percentage. He is getting on base almost 6 out of 10 times over his last 14 contests. The Wheeler gem was ruined by a Josh Bell 2-run shot, but luckily Jose Alvarado was on top of his game. The Phillies are only 1.5 game back of the Mets. We'll talk about them in just a moment because the Twins and the Reds, they faced off in a pretty fun game. Eugenio Suarez now has 21 home runs and a whopping 60 OPS plus, where the league average is 100. So the 21 home runs is elite, but the 60 OPS is 40% below average, which is just weird. Tucker Barnhart makes it back-to-back, and then Mitch Garver, he has been a monster in the few amount of games that he has played. A 150 OPS plus with 12 home runs in 49 games. Rookie of the Year frontrunner, in my opinion, Jonathan India momentarily gives the Reds a lead, and then guess what happens? Jorge Polanco, he leads all of the AL in slugging percentage. I think since the beginning of June, he has been a monster. He hits a home run in the 9th to give the Twins a lead, and then Alex Colomé, he struggles, but he does close it. Moving on over to the Marlins versus the Mets. Alex Jackson, who was just traded on over, I think from the Braves, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. He hits his first MLB home run, and then Izan Diaz goes yard, and then Brian De La Cruz, who they got from the Astros for Yimi Garcia. I think that this kid is going to be special. I love love his tools. He brings in 2 as Taijuan Walker now has 20 earned runs in 15 innings after the All-Star break. That is a fat yikes. I think the All-Star game actually broke the guy, which makes me sad because he was so good. Jorge Alfaro knocks in a huge RBI on a double as James McCann brings the game to within 1 run. Dylan Floro eventually gets the job done in the final inning, and the Mets are now on a 3-game losing streak and only 1.5 game ahead of the Phillies. Don't let Andrew Vaughn heat up, please. And I say that because I want Akil Baddoo to win Rookie of the Year, but like I mentioned in a few videos, there are so many players in contention for American League Rookie of the Year. Tim Anderson goes the other way on a 2-run shot, and Dylan Cease was stupid good. 11 strikeouts, only 1 hit in 6 shutout innings as Sebi Savala drives in a run on a bases-loaded walk, and then you have Anderson and Abreu knocking in the final 4 runs. The Sox are almost 10 games ahead of anyone in that division, and they've outscored their opponents by almost 120 runs on the season without the help of Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, so that team is just so deep. This next game was kind of weird because we have Garcia driving in an RBI for the Brewers, and then Adames Willie with his 14th as a member of the Brewers. Garcia and Tellez team up to make it 4-0 as Adrian Hauser of the Brewers throws almost 7 no-hit innings, but then as soon as he's taken out because he almost had 110 pitches, Pittsburgh says, hey, thanks. Hoy Park, we see that he drives in 3, he clears the bases. He was involved in the Clay Holm trade with the New York Yankees. Garcia ties it up in the 7th. Again, a wild game as Gregory Polanco robs a walk-off home run. He comes in clutch in the very next inning with an RBI single, and then Brian Reynolds knocks in 2 RBIs, and the Pirates steal a victory 8-5. The Braves versus the Cardinals. John Lester was making his debut. Jorge Soler says, hey, sorry about that, buddy. He hits his first home run as a member of the Atlanta Braves. Then you have Dansby Swanson and Peterson driving in a few RBIs on some singles. Freddie Freeman hits his 24th home run to make it a 6 earned run day for John Lester, just not good. Max Fried, on the other hand, 7 strikeouts, only 1 walk in 6 shutout innings. The Braves are only 1 game away from getting back to a 500 record. What has been the trend? When they get 1 game away, they lose. Let's see if they can break the curse. And last but not least, we have the Rockies versus the Cubs. You have manager David Ross getting ejected in the 1st inning, and then it was all kind of downhill for the Cubs. I kind of feel bad for Ross because he took the job, and then they traded away everyone. Elias Diaz hits a grand slam, so he now has a 157 OPS plus over his last 16 games. Sam Hilliard has been on top of his game lately as well. He hits a 3-run shot in the 4th, and then he adds another one on an RBI double in the 6th, and that starts a 4-run rally in the 6th for the Colorado Rockies. You have Trevor Story and CJ Cron pouring salt in the wound. The Rockies win 13-6. All right, everyone. Well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. We're getting so close to 350,000 subs. I can't even believe I'm saying that out loud. Stay safe out there and enjoy this day in MLB history, but make sure you use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off on SeatGeek. Do that first.
First pitch is hit high in the air, deep to left field. If this is fair, it could be. It is number 500 for Alex Rodriguez.